here, and for those that may be coming up, somebody's texting me, they're 10 minutes away, but we'll deal with that. But for those that are here in person and those that are online and virtually, ideally, picking up from the last time that we met, it was really the you call. It talked about, hey, there's end of school and there's summer camps and things of that nature that are that continuity, if you will, of that hands-on experience and what's needed, before going back into school, whether it's higher ed or whether it is K through 12, and lots of different things. So the idea is that we take these meetings and we just don't sit and say, okay, we're going to meet again. We really want to take some action and hearing from the gaps that may be out there that we have been enforcing, the marketing of what manufacturing is. It's been a long challenge, but we're going to continue to have it. But in this case, it really is to talk a little bit about what happens here. And I know it can maybe exert great pride. There was other Voc Tech schools, and I know recently I saw in the local paper that Brockton High is even looking at having some expansion of Voc Tech. So if you haven't done so, for those that are online, if you can just rename yourself, that would be helpful for those. But then if we can just quickly go around, for those who don't know, my name's Mary Waldron. I'm the executive director at Old Colony Planning Council, and we're the convener, if you will, of the folks in the Route 24 region.
I'm Paul Yamato. Most of you know me already. Senior Grant Fiscal Compliance Officer for OCPC.
Matt Barrage, Associate Director of Workforce Development at Mass MEP. I'm Paul Bellamy, Director of South Shore Location.
I'm your Senior Executive Vice President at Female Management.
And for those that are online, I'm going to shout out the names just for everybody's purposes. And I know it might be a little bit repetitive, but thank you for taking the time. Jason Hunter.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Hunter, Executive Director, Mass High Grade Workforce Board.
Say that 5 times fast, Jason, this morning without much coffee, right? Paul. Paul Diamond.
Thanks, Mary. Good morning, everybody. Paul Diamond with Northeastern Machine over here in Easton.
It's great to see you about a week ago, Paul.
Yes. Nice to see you again.
Dan Evans.
Dan Evans, good morning, all. President EMI Evans Machine, Brockton, Mass.
Dan, I know Eliza Wilson from Brockton had a good meeting with you. So.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, Eric.
Morning, everybody. Eric Dykeman, South Shore Chamber of Commerce.
Perfect. Thanks to Eric. Ken Kirkland.
Hey guys, Ken Kirkland, Director of Planning and Community Development for Easton.
Could everybody hear Ken? So Ken is the planner for the town of Easton. Thank you, Ken, for being on. We just for your purpose, Ken, it was a little hard to hear you. Michael.
Good morning, everyone. Michael Tomasi, Accurons here in Avon, Massachusetts.
Michael, thank you for being on. I think your call to getting more businesses and manufacturers has been responded to. I know the artesian build better. Oh, that's just a note taker. That's just you.
That just populated now when folks are coming in.
Is that anybody?
It's kind of like our AI.
Okay, so just so clarity. Is there anybody else? That's it, right?
That's it for this.
So I know that there's a couple of folks coming in. Paul, I'm actually going to have you switch places with me just so it's a little bit easy for that camera too. So, thank you. So tell us about South Shore Voc Tech.
So I guess I brought this up is since South Shore Voc Tech, since we're a day program, our night programs are available for training. And what we're looking to do is what can we do to help the South Shore develop new programs to get young adults into the trades. So we're doing manufacturing right now. Mike knows with the UAA that we're doing that right now with manufacturing. We also have some other trades that we'd love to see what we can do and develop to look at how we can make the South Shore and our young people more attractive to the trades. On the end of manufacturing, if we are you know, we're open 18 hours a day now. We're not a school that just stays open from 7:45 in the morning till 2. You know, from 4 o'clock on, we have a very active night program. So I'd like to, you know, have the conversation of what can we do here at South Shore? What are you guys looking to do? And what can we develop? You know, we know that there's a definite need for a lot of trades, especially with the silver tsunami coming. That we are going to need a ton of people in the trades. So summer's on its way. You know, I have openings in a lot of my shops. What can we do to develop that? And what can we do to get some of these young people or people that want to go into the trades active and using our ability to train and develop them and to get them jobs out in the workforce?
No, I think that's a good perspective, and I think, for those particular manufacturers and others, but I really do think like this is the crux of, as I was driving here, first of all, the ride from Brockton took me 27 minutes. And I know that there's folks, students from all over. But I do think that the synergy and the responsiveness, right, there's, you know, the need is, you know, the need is strong. So I do have, there's somebody that's come in.
Okay.
So maybe if there's open up some questions for manufacturers, and I know Jason, maybe from Mass Hire, you can chat a little bit. So let me go and get them in.
Hey, Paul, first question, is the program already being advertised? Is it available right now? Does it start in June or?
So we have not done, so we have the UAA using our manufacturing in the summer. But I'm open to do something at night over here or in other parts of assembly or quality control in manufacturing. Anything that, you know, the three of, you know, people that are in manufacturing want for your business. I also brought Matt in from MEP. And, you know, he has the pre-apprenticeship program that we can develop also through these programs too.
Great.
Is it just limited to younger people?
No, I'm open. If the only thing that we're gonna need to do is whoever we bring in, we're gonna have for it. Because we are a school, but I'm open to anything, even in healthcare.
Well, we're a manufacturer, so
Yep.
we have a big machine shop, we have
Yep.
clean rooms, we have a lot of inspection, we have over 400 people, so.
Yeah, so I mean, inspection, even if we don't have to use, even if we don't need to use the CNC and we wanna do inspection, I'm open for anything to get more students into manufacturing on the South Shore. And that's where Matt, you talked a little bit about the apprenticeship.
So we built a pre-apprenticeship that's been approved by the state. It's 165 hours of curriculum that really goes to the heart of everything within manufacturing because it's supposed to build pathways. So we have ISO in there, we have safety in there with OSHA 10 or OSHA 30, depending on where we want to go. We have AI in manufacturing, we do lean, we do GD&T, we have MACRIC certification. So we're giving them a little bit of everything, and what we're planning on doing this summer, I'm gonna call this afternoon. We're also connecting with NC3, which will give us some specific skill sets and a platform to use to get more into quality or clean energy. It's a national platform that we're gonna be purchasing to be able to supply that as additional pathways for these students, depending on where we want to go. Like if Mike needs a certain skill set over there, we can potentially bring that skill set in, or Dan or Paul, you know what I mean? We can add those pieces in, and that's the nice thing about the pre-apprenticeship. We can adapt the pre-apprenticeship. It's already been approved, but if we want to go into clean energy, we can do clean energy. If we want to focus solely on quality, we can bring that in too. But there's a little bit of everything, and I can share that information out to Paul or to whoever to share that information so you can see the plus curriculum and what we're doing. But that was all built from your responses, because I know Mike, Dan, and Paul, you were all on that workforce hiring form that I sent out to everybody and the skills you're looking for. That's what helped us build the pre-apprenticeship. So it came from information from you, the manufacturers.
So, so the concept is, we have a couple months, we can develop this program, we can get some young adults or people that are being already employed that need some other skills, we can teach it here, okay? You can come up and try to develop some more of these abilities to get some of these young or employees that need some skills here. We have the space. I hate seeing the school stay still. It's summer, we might as well utilize it since I'm using your tax dollars. So let's utilize the school. And I think if we have a lot of, a lot of people that are smart on the phone right now that really develop this program in math, and you can put it together really quick. And recruitment, I know, Jason, I know that you'd love to help. Your tie's a little crooked too, so you know.
Paul, you're lucky I'm not there in person. Matt, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So you said it's 165 hours of the RTI,
Yes,
the training piece for apprenticeships?
correct. For the pre-apprenticeship, it's 165 hours.
So I just wanted to, is there a way we could turn that into an actual registered apprenticeship? What specific?
So those hours, Jason, actually can be used towards an apprenticeship. So if anybody has an apprenticeship there, already stood up at their facility, the 165 hours, we have, depending on the position type. So for CNC machinist, we could put it in their calculator. And I want to say when we did a presentation a couple of weeks ago, it's 122 hours of our pre-apprenticeship that goes towards that 200. So it becomes a benefit because they don't have to do as many hours on the job. They only have it, 35 hours or actually it's 200. So say 80 hours that they would have to do instead of a full 200 hours to meet the protocols.
And some of this does not have to be in person too. So some of this can be virtual. Even some of the vocational kids that we're taking to get out into the workforce have some have MacBook already, some have, some of the other things they're doing, so those hours would count. So I'm up to do something here in the summer. I know we have a short turnaround time, but if we're trying to build the South Shore and trying to get employees for the South Shore, I think it could give us a good opportunity to develop this here.
Yeah, I mean, here at the board side, we are looking at the apprenticeship model and just trying to find a way to make it fit. And I believe right now the way that DOL has CNC machinist as a registered apprenticeship, it's a 3 or 4 year program. So we would need to find a way to do an additional, if you said 200, I think they need another 250 or it's 150 a year. So I think we would need to find another 250 hours of schooling. And then of course, find the employer for the 6,000 hours of on the job. So we're just trying to find a way to make it fit in our region anyway. So a long way of saying if we can get together, I know Lorraine and Matt, you guys have talked in the past. So I think we just have to further the conversation and, see if the employers will buy in. And I know Mike and Dan and Paul have all probably taken a bite at this apple one time or another, but I think it's an important pathway. I just want to make sure that it works.
And in terms of timing, Jason, I mean, I'm always of the mindset you give it a go and see how it goes, and at least we then start building it. And certainly the need that we've said at these meetings, not just so we can sit around. We want to find out some solutions, and if we have some ideas that we can put forward into action, and if there's funding available, we're building that network of getting word out. But again, like the last meeting a month ago, we talked about the timing that's why at one point we're talking about putting this meeting off. I'm like, no, we need to start now because we're on thin time as well. And I guess, Jason, just because I know for full disclosure, I sit on, Mass High and Greater Brockton Board, but knowing the timeframe, and this could also be a partnership with Laura Buckley from, South Shore. So, talk a little bit about how that might work.
So
Here's
we've
Paul.
reached, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Just a quick question. Is there state funding to support a summer program, Paul, or is it paid to play or Mass MEP have stuff?
We'll be writing in for grants, and I know Mass Tech grant is coming up, shortly. That's gonna be, the RFI is gonna be sent out shortly. And the additional grant opportunity, DAS will be, I wanna say, beginning of summer, we'll have their RFI out for a pre-apprenticeship program too. So I think there's definitely funding, and if there's opportunity, we can write it in. And that's another thing, we may also wanna pull in Dennis Collins from DAS to help us figure out the pre-apprenticeship to apprenticeship and the hours and what's needed. I think we might as well go right to the subject matter expert on that piece too.
And also our friend Josh is from the South Shore. So Josh is heading that up. I know, Mike, you have a great relationship with him. So, you know, I have no problem asking. I'm married, so I'm used to getting said no a lot. So, but I'll ask as much as I can.
So I will say, just as a follow-up, we met with DAS. We have a good relationship with Dennis. He helped us establish our apprenticeship program in early childhood ed. He had run about a month ago an apprenticeship for manufacturing, like informational session. I didn't see many employers from the South Shore on there. We're gonna look as a board to replicate that with a little more meat. So we were looking as part of the Tech Hub grant and also just as part of our day-to-day to run a similar information session where he will go over manufacturing specific. He talks about Mass MEP. So Matt and Paul, maybe we can coordinate something where we're all on the same page. We did call him specifically with the ask for funding. They have already obligated all their funds for this current year. He mentioned that around September would be when they release more money for funding programs, which would essentially help us would help this pay for the RTI piece, the training piece. So if we line it up where we can get him to do something in the first couple weeks in June and then have an opportunity to look at funding opportunities, hopefully this lines up somewhat with the implementation phase of this particular grant, the Tech Hub. So we already have that conversation started. Would be happy to include both Matt and Paul and both Pauls, I guess, to really further this along. So we kind of already kicked the ties at that. We are started. He has agreed to do an information session. We have the Small Business Administration as well that would be looking to participate. They have their own pocket of money. So hopefully we can find a way to pay for that ITI or RTI or assist, you know, Dan, Mike, and Paul and other manufacturers with the RATSI, the tax credits, whether they pay their employees directly or they go towards the cost of the education piece. It's just a way to fit it all together.
Jason, I think you raised some really great points on following up on what, Mike Tomassi talked about, just in terms of funding. And all, again, don't wait for our next meeting to have this. There's certainly tons of resources who can have access. And, I'm just going to do just a quick, time out for a second, because there's a couple folks that have joined us. Ooh, what's going on? Sorry. Malik Williams, has been part of our steering committee. Thank you, Malik, for coming. Laura Buckley from, South Shore, Workforce Board, I got it. And I know that, Don Fuginetti from the, town of Easton, she also is from Mass Development. She works full time with Mass Development. Shane O'Brien, again, right? Just pulling it back a little bit more universal. There's some of this conversation are with the businesses and communities in terms of where both tech or K-12, whatever may be offered. We want to just make sure whatever that gap education may be. But really important is how do we get funding? The fact that, Jason, you did a nice run through about, the apprenticeship program and what's already been spent. But then there are some other places that perhaps like Small Business Administration and or others unique to, maybe sometimes a little bit outside the box that can be helpful. Paul is a full-time grant writer for Old Colony Planning Council. That's why we are here with this grant. But there are many of those, Jason and others that can pull that together. So kind of back a little bit to what Mike Tomas said. So, all right, so how much is it going to cost? Like, if we're going to develop a program in a quick fashion, I know if there are communities who are all holding their town meetings and their school budgets have been really tapped to follow everybody, and but how we put a little bit of fear to get into seeing how quickly we can pull together a program, and it might be even just a pilot program that we find X amount of cohorts who are able to go through it, so we can figure out what it takes to have it fully functioning. That would be my mind. I would hate to lose an opportunity for this summer to not see us have some sort of activity. How about anybody else on the call or in person?
So I don't have a problem running a budget with Matt and figuring out what the employers want in an employee. I think we have that data already. And then Micah or Paul again, I can always reach out and have a conversation and develop that program. And then my philosophy is to do it maybe 2 days in person and 2 days on virtual. And also build an apprenticeship program in that. Like Jason said, that would be good, some hours that help Matt with apprenticeship. And then we can do 2 days in person here and then 2 days. And then if it's assembly, remember, my thing is to get these young adults excited about manufacturing. To get them, I want to do this. I want to go into the career of manufacturing. So we can put a budget together. We do a curriculum really quick. We could probably have it done by next week.
I would say for those that are interested in participating, it will not be me, but it will be Paul, Marlo for mine. Maybe just get a separate group to have that conversation, set the budget, and then see where the gap is. Have lots of folks legislative wise who have great interest in this program and what we're doing. But that goes back to even what's been said from the first meeting is let's just get young people or non-traditional students to be interested in manufacturing.
Yep. So, it doesn't have to be the whole summer, so we don't have to ruin this summer.
Okay.
But I think we can definitely develop something,
Right.
And maybe even do a shadow with some of our employers. If they are willing to have some of these young adults come in and shadow for a day or two, so they can see all the cool stuff that manufacturing is doing. We can talk about it all day long. Yeah, we can talk about it all day long, but until they see some of your shops and how cool they are, they're not going to understand it until they see that. So I'd like to add that to the curriculum.
Yeah. Anybody around the table, conversations, thoughts?
Happy to have
Hey, Paul.
Walk around our shop.
Perfect.
How many people do you need to have a class?
We could do 8, 10, 12.
Okay.
We typically run 12 in a cohort,
12.
up to 12.
My interest, I love the apprenticeship program. But for us right now, we can't participate in it because we really don't have that skill set that needs to participate in apprenticeship. We've hired some co-ops. We have them in the building, but they're either at your school or Southeastern or Diamond or wherever already getting training. So they wouldn't be applicable to this particular program. My thought was, I think apprenticeship is awesome. But, like Jason has at Mass Hire, he runs a program for CDL or Diesel Tech, and they attract new people And I've met a few of the people that they got out of the army, didn't know what to do, got into a diesel tech, graduated from that. He wasn't even graduated, already had a job. It was a tremendous story. So it would be nice to attract new people into the industry and train them and then help them find a job. That's the avenue that I'd like to
Yeah,
see.
you raise a really good point, is that, not every training program is gonna fit every business. And we talked about the last time that there was a survey, the whole, manufacturers, Southeastern Mass, and that was maybe 8 years ago, 8 or so. Here's the point, we're gonna work with the businesses that are within our region and making sure we, do that assessment of what the needs are. But for the time being, I think you're right, Dan, it probably may not work for you, but I think there's some interest for those that are attending today, that cohort of, I would say 12, let's aim for 12 and put together the budget accordingly.
And I think since we have partners on the phone, online now from Houston, I'll be honest with you, I run a CTI program. So I have students driving here for my night program to learn the trades. Not every kid in Easton High, Oliver Ames is going, to college. They may want to go in the trades, and that's across the board. That's every high school, Brockton High, Marshfield, all these high schools now. My biggest push right now in CTI, I have 104 students. I have 80 young adults now, and they're all going to go out into the industry because they don't want to go off to college. So, those are the people that we can definitely get into the summer, and give them a taste of what manufacturing is. They may not want to go in the apprenticeship program, but at least they'll have the hours for it. And if they don't go, they don't go. But at least they may have a taste of wow, I went over to Dan Evans and I see myself doing this job, or I go to Mike's and, I really like it, or Paul's doing this type of stuff. I think when you have those young people that want to do the manufacturing, I think we have to give them a taste. They hear manufacturing, they're lost. They have no idea. And their parents are saying it's stinky and it's smelly. It's not like that anymore. Okay, even though I like it when it's stinky and smelly when I walk in, it's not like that. So,
To your point, well, if we do the free apprenticeship, they do not have to go into an apprenticeship. They can go direct hire opportunity. We're calling it a free apprenticeship. But we're supplying them with the curriculum to, go into the pathway. So again, we can create that if there's specific things you'd like to see, Dan, in the curriculum that we build, we can put that in. It's still gonna be called a free apprenticeship, but you don't have to have an apprenticeship to hire them. So it's still an opportunity. Let's play that.
and I agree. I know what you're talking about with the diesel and CDL. Those are new people, and that's what we want. I agree. I don't want to take people that are already in manufacturing at a school. I want new people that want to see it, that are older, that want to go into manufacturing. I already tapped them. I already know they're going in. So let's get 12 new people to, maybe want to go into manufacturing.
Agreed. Thank you.
No, I think even cross training, if we have people in our quality department that maybe aren't interested in CNC machining, or, one of the things we're looking for right now is manual machining. Just someone, we just have a small area in our shop that has a lot of manual machines, but just no young people coming in.
Right.
We're trying to train them on the job, but, it's not always that easy.
So, I'm okay with getting a team together and trying to get together. It's a very short window. To make it happen for the summer. It's time's clicking.
It is. I'm glad we met today, because at one point I was thinking about holding up till April, but I'm glad we met today for this very reason of let's test this out. That's what we have, this planning grant, test it out so we can have time for the next cycle around, we should be able to further the needs, and connecting the needs together.
I think this will be a critical case study for us as we're building up the strategy. I think that what we're trying to do here is huge. And point of the sort of building to the need, this is just one step in a multi-step process as we market this and build out the strategy. If there's a need that may not fit what we're doing with this program, remember, we have a great group of folks here and, we're still partnering with Massasoit Community College and their Future of Work Institute. Brockton High, I'm sure, has some programming. Southeastern Regionals, part of this as well. And then, of course, we have folks from our communities as well that may have some other ideas to, make this a reality even further as we do this case study, see where it goes and how we can figure this out.
So I think more than a case study, one of the things that we did find with the Uniquely Abled Academy is our interview process. If we're gonna take 12 people, including this is with CTI also, is I think the interview process has to be something that we really look at and really focus on, not just take 12 bodies and put them into the class. I think what we need to do is really focus on that area. And I think it has to be the right individual, because if we want the system to work and we want the data and analyticals to say that we achieved a good cohort, you really need to make sure that we pick the right people.
And that's where I leave it. I mean, obviously, companies around talked about the need. This is where the education piece is really important, as well as the workforce and best hiring. This is what you do. You do the hiring, you do a lot of the interviews for many of the companies. So whatever that mix is, I think that's, we leave you doing what you get to do, and we just kind of make sure that we continue to support and monitor and then report back. We can get additional funding for this I think that's what we're in the test case for.
Yeah, we'll get the word out to our networks. Obviously, we have this group here again for a reason. Folks can share it within their own networks that they have here on the phone as well. So, yeah, it's the word out.
I just want to make sure, I know a couple folks came in later, but in terms of apprenticeship, and I did pick up upon what the conversation is. These are all recorded again. They will be uploaded to the website, just in case somebody misses it. We'll send out, we're still down in person, so that's why a lot of these notices are late. But I think this is where we're going to stay focused for the next, particularly utilizing the summertime for whatever we can. Because if we know, whether it's colleges, universities, or whether it's the K through 12, the academic world continues on their timeline. And that's where private businesses, and, looking to adjust, right? Private businesses they have a business to run, and they certainly need the employees, but that comes through this conversation too. So, any questions or comments around the table, or how about anybody online? And because we are going to go for a tour here, and we'll take some video. But Michael, anybody?
Just a quick question. Paul, do you network with other Voc Tech schools? Do you compete with other Voc Tech schools? Just kind of curious on that dynamic, because I know that, Southeastern has night programs as well, and they get the STI and funding. So wondering how all this works,
So I'm the VP for night school. So we have all the vocational directors like me. We meet once a month, and I go over everything with them, with the president and the secretary. So, I let them know what's going on. Again, there's no, if it's Southeastern doing it or me doing it, it doesn't matter. I just want people out in the workforce. That's my whole goal. I know that tsunami's coming, and it's coming fast. So we need to make sure that, all of us are on the same page. So, if this is a test pilot and we do it this summer, Southeastern may be able to do it with them, and then other vocationals across the state to do the same thing. Just like UAA, that's my ultimate goal, is to get this to every vocational school.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks,
But
Paul.
it really, and just for my purposes, because I think I know, but what are the Voc Tech schools within this region?
So you have Old Colony,
Yeah.
Southeastern. Tri-County is right on that line, and then you have Blue Hills. Yep. Those are the ones that are pretty much in this region.
Right. And I think it's worthwhile even just talk about that for a minute, right? So we're in Hanover, it's not part of Route 24, but the fact that so many students, I mean, this is not a boundaries within Route 24. People, young people are traveling, whether it's night school, to come and get these skills. And if they're willing, and if we have, or it's being offered, and there's a need, that's where we need to continue to bring those pieces together. So, I would say, before I don't know if there's anybody else online that would like to make a comment. This is gonna be relatively short today, but, I just want to again recognize, each of the communities. I know Town of Bridgewater, Town of Easton, and I know, some of the others. Really, the community's role in this, someone, like Shane or Kimmy say, why am I at this meeting? The idea is that we want to make sure that we'll share with each of you, and you probably haven't already, those manufacturers that within your own communities. And the idea is to continue to develop that relationship. We want you here, we like you here, we need you to grow here. We understand from your companies that are there, these are your needs. How do we help build and maintain those needs? And it is through VOTEC, it is through K through 12, it's through our institutions of higher learning. So
The only thing is, if we're able to, like, we have people from Easton online right now. If we're able to get into your school and do a presentation about the program after this gets approved, it'd be nice to get some of those students from Easton that may want to go into it, they may not go off to college. Same thing with Bridgewater.
yeah, and I know Dottie and Ken are on, and I think that's an interest because you have Southeastern down the road, you have it in your town. And so I think that goes to see what curriculum is offered in each of these VOTEC as well as, K through 12, because there might be some common, needs. Let's call it mathematics, right? General
Absolutely.
mathematics across the board. So if that's being offered and that's at that level, when you get to the next level. So that's a good ask, and we can certainly go back to the communities and ask about how we get into the schools. And I know through both the workforce boards, they provide tours for students to go to the companies. So both ways, right? Come to the schools and then the companies come. So yeah, schools go to the company.
And I think a big piece to this too is, like we did, Mike, with the UAA, our first go around, we had an information session and we brought in the employers to explain what the program is. Again, get the buy-in before the training even starts, so that everybody's ready. They know in 8 weeks or 10 weeks, these students are ready to go. And you start drawing the interest, so it's easy. We can just, we hand them off to these employers when they're done. But I think that's also a big piece to this, is setting up some type of information session, either in person or virtually, to get the message
I
out.
think at the shop, I think like we did for the UAA, Mike, when we brought everybody over to you, it was a great selling point. They got to see some of your shops. It could be at Paul's place, or it could be at Dan's place. It could be anywhere.
Or get this cohort we're talking about, no, get to, Mark Miller, what's that, to get this cohort of 12, have them do a tour and get on a bus to go to each of these places as they
Correct.
go along the way. Mark?
Hi, everybody. This is Mark Miller from Artisan Industries in Stoughton. I think I can speak for all the manufacturing companies. We would love to come in and talk to the students about the program, and we would be honored, all of us would be honored to bring students at any time to our shops, our manufacturing facilities, and introduce them to, what manufacturing really is all about. So I think we support this 100%, and I see a lot of heads nodding, but I think we're all on board with this fully.
Thanks, Mark. I think that affirmation, I think, is really important for this next step. So as we
And
move
heck, we'll
forward-
even buy pizzas for the kids. I mean, that's, we want, if that helps gets them in.
It does. Dottie, would you like to,
Yes, I have a lot of background noise here today, sorry. I just wanted to say that, we would certainly be willing to talk with the schools and find out a good opportunity once you have a time frame, keeping in mind that they're pretty well scheduled out probably through the end of the year. So if you want to have it in this school year, just let us know. And I think they might even have some type of a job fair that they do that we could get information about and try to make that happen. But it's a great idea, and I'm happy to go have pizza with you guys too. So I appreciate the offer in Stoughton. I'm not a student, but
Dottie, I know one of the things we've talked about, just while I'm happy, is, having us go before each of the board of selectmen to talk about what the tech hub is in a more generic. But I think if it goes to select board, obviously, there's a filtering down, if you will, people who've been turning in. There are avenues of promoting. I know that there's, the Easton Chamber, there's also the, is it the town crier, the local,
yeah,
online?
we have a weekly newsletter, so we can get you all that information, and certainly happy to have you at a select board meeting and make any of the connections that you need. And Ken Kirkland is the director of planning. He's on this too, so I'm sure that he will be happy to accommodate whatever works best for the plans that you're laying in place.
Great, Dottie. I think what we're gonna do is start with Easton, since both you and Ken are on, and then we'll work our way to the different communities, but we'll work with, you and the town and the, town manager. Congratulations on your new town manager, by the way. And, let's get that piece out simultaneously. Let the school in the summer and the curriculum piece go, but let us work with the town. And then once we have that appreciation for, what the schools already have going on, if it's not done before the end of the school year, we can at least then start queuing it in, as you said, with their busy schedule to know what activities and what, like you said, job fairs that might be around in the schools.
And you could also, you could also remember to take advantage of our local cable access. So we could do a show. We could have a number of, like a roundtable type of a discussion on manufacturing. So there's some creative things that we can work on as well.
That's a great idea. Actually, I really like that idea.
And Dottie, we're only pushing Easton because my wife's a townie, so, that's the big reason. And I raised my kids in Easton, so that's the only reason why, you're on board here.
Well, for a constituent, we will accommodate.
I really do. That was very political too. I like that. That was very political. Thank you so much.
We've got a couple paths, right? There's things that are within the realms of education, but let us as a team work on ways to getting, information from other avenues that are not typical, so. Thank you, Dottie. Anybody else comments about, some next steps? I'm not gonna begin to think about scheduling something in, April at this point, because if there's a timing, I would just really highly recommend that we work on these two items. The getting out to the different communities, highlighting, and bring businesses to the board of selectmen to talk about manufacturing, have a roundtable as, on local cable, and then let that piece move forward, because I think it's a really important one. And then the education, the curriculum, the needs of the businesses work on its own path, not wait for one of us, and then we come back maybe, May. Maybe we'll look at coming back in May. We're coming to the end of school year to see where things are. If that doesn't work, you'll get an email from one of us, so.
Is there a raffle?
If you can everybody hear?
I'm sorry, let me speak up.
Yeah, that's okay, that's really.
Thank you. Is there someone from Brockton High School that's
We
a
do,
representative?
Carmela, Jackson has been invited and, yes, but they're
No, I
not.
actually have a call with, Mayor Thompson. Sarah, which is.
Oh, Sarah Richards, perfect, okay.
I see.
Sarah Richards is the director of, the arts. And again, as I was also driving in, we have some work with, sign design. And so sign design is bringing students from Brockton High School to talk about their imagery. And then all of a sudden it made me think like, well, that's manufacturing as well. So again, we keep adding, I think the idea is to add, the number of folks talking about manufacturing. And not through old fat manufacturing, but it is a manufacturing of banners, and it takes digital and it takes math and science and other skills to do that within the arts. So, anybody else to add anything? Appreciate everybody being on. Each one of you have such an amazing role in this, and I know that Jason and Lorraine and Laura are working on the data pieces of this, and that piece will be really important as we put together applications. So, we are ready for a tour.
Absolutely.
We're gonna miss you all, but
I can roll the TV if you guys want.
Paul, get him the ice cream.
We want a
Yeah,
rain
you
check.
You did like the ice cream, didn't you?
I really did. I don't know if you noticed how fast I ate it.
I did. I didn't even know if you even used a spoon. It was kind of embarrassing when you were folding the cup. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, I don't know if you wanted to mention what we were talking about this morning, how you're getting a brand new facility.
Yeah, so most of these guys helped us get, so everybody knows, we break ground in 2 weeks for, one of the most innovative vocational schools in the state. For your tax dollars, all 300 million of them, I appreciate all of you. Okay, especially the manufacturers, thank you for donating. Okay, but the manufacturing room is amazing, it really is, so it will be state of the art.
It's been recently highlighted in local enterprise.
Yeah, people call me, yell at me for spending money, I know. I know.
It's wonderful. And my last thing, I know Jason's still on, because the construction day that you hold at Massasoit Community College in partnership, that's, while it's maybe not specifically manufacturing, but that has been going on for how many years now? And such a great turnout. You turn people away from going to that.
I believe this is year 8. The COVID killed us for a couple, but I believe it's either 7 or 8. Don't quote me on that though, but
No, but that same concept of, right, the continuity of having something to bring and people get a different idea of what construction is. So, without holding anybody up, thank you. And Eric from Plymouth Chamber, thank you for being on. While we're Route 24, Plymouth Chamber is really important part of the discussion. So thank you.
South Shore Chamber, and I appreciate
South
you
Shore Chamber.
including.
I meant to say South Shore. I'm sorry. Yes, I knew that.
Yeah,
Thank you
That's,
very
that's
much.
okay. Plymouth, I live in Plymouth, and Plymouth is a wonderful chamber. And it's led by Amy, and she does a great job. No, thank you for including us on this. I'm very interested to hear everything that's going on. The South Shore Chamber, under our new CEO, Tim Cahill, has been conducting a number of industry-specific roundtables. We've connected university presidents with the hospital CEOs that are operating in our region, and currently working on developing talent pipelines with the hospital industry, healthcare industry rather. We're also working closely with the energy companies and exploring discussions about what's going on down with the governor's nuclear roadmap and how that may impact Plymouth. So we're excited about that. And this is a long way of getting to one of the additional roundtables that Tim wants to have is manufacturing. So Paul, I'm appreciative of everything that South Shore Voc is doing, and hope to be connecting with you soon to talk a little bit further about that, so that on the South Shore, you know, the Route 3 corridor, that area, to really begin exploring ways that that we can be helpful in trying to drive workforce to manufacturing. We recognize it as an extremely important part of the economy in our area, and we certainly want to get become more engaged in what's going on there. So we'll be working closely, I'm sure, with you, Paul, and with others, in kind of developing some sort of thinking in terms of how we can be helpful. And of course, with the program that OCPC is now involved with, that too is something that I think is very interesting to us. So thank you again for putting this together and including us, and hope to be back in touch with you all soon.
Thank you, Eric. I think there's a couple things that just highlighting. You talked about the roundtables. If those roundtable discussions have been recorded, we could share that link on the webpage, because why replicate, right? Let's see what kind of conversation, so, we'll be in touch with you, to see if we're able to bring that, and then even just share that. I think hearing the discussions and building upon it is really important, and not necessarily replicate something that's been done before. Thank you very much. All right, everybody, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Have a
Bye
great
now.
day.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.